Hi, this is Brett from SRmoto. I wanted to do a quick video, go over some of the different aftermarket foot pegs that are available for the Honda CRF250L dual sport bike. What we've got here is a completely stock 2015 Honda CRF250L. We're getting ready to do some upgrades to it. One of the first things we're going to do is put a good set of aftermarket foot pegs on the bike. So I thought it'd be a good opportunity to do a quick video and show some of the different aftermarket foot pegs that are available for these bikes. Foot pegs are probably one of the most overlooked parts on a bike as far as upgrading goes. I think most people probably just leave the stock foot pegs on these bikes and never even think about upgrading them. But if you think about it, the foot pegs are a pretty important part of the bike. You're using your legs to control the bike. And since you're standing on the foot pegs, you want to have a good set of foot pegs that not only provides a lot of grip and traction, but then you also want a foot peg that's going to be comfortable. The CRF250L comes with a real kind of inexpensive set of foot pegs on it. It's definitely one of the areas that Honda kind of cut corners to keep the price point of the bike down, so they just kind of put a real cheap set of foot pegs on the bike. As you can kind of tell, they're very narrow, so they end up not being very comfortable since you don't have a very large platform to stand on. They're not very grippy, don't give you a lot of traction compared to an aftermarket foot peg. Additionally, they're not very durable. They're gonna bend easily, you know, if you drop the bike or crash the bike. They just don't seem to hold up very well. Luckily, there are quite a few different aftermarket foot pegs available for these bikes. We sell 4 or 5 different foot pegs. So what I'm going to do is kind of go over each one, talk about them a little bit, show them on the bike, give you a little bit of idea of some of your options for upgrading the foot pegs. Okay, the first foot peg I'm going to talk about is the DRC Wide foot peg. This is probably our best selling foot peg for the CRF250L. Also happens to be the most affordable one. This one's going to give you a 50 millimeter step width on it. Give you an idea how that compares to the stock foot peg. You can see it's a little bit wider overall, about the same length. And it does give you 3 rows of teeth on it compared to just 2 on the stock foot peg. So it's going to give you a little bit more grip, a little bit more traction, and that wider step width is going to make it a much more comfortable foot peg overall. You can get it in 2 different heights. We're running the mid height on this one, which is about the same as the stock foot peg height. So if you're okay with the height of the stock foot pegs, order the mid step height. And it's also available in a high, which I believe is like 5 millimeters higher than these. The foot peg construction is a chromium steel, and then they powder coat it in black, so it's going to be a real durable foot peg. Installation, super easy, probably takes 5-10 minutes to install both foot pegs on the bike. You just take the stock foot pegs off. You'll reuse the springs that come on the stock foot pegs, and then these just bolt right onto the bike, no modifications or anything necessary. Again, that's the DRC Wide foot peg for the Honda CRF250L. Okay, the next foot peg I want to talk about is the DRC Motard foot peg. Some people might refer to it as the DRC Supermoto foot peg. Now, even though this foot peg looks kind of similar to the DRC Wide foot peg that I just showed you, this foot peg is actually designed more for street riding, not really suited for off-road riding. It's actually better, you know, for aggressive street riding, track riding, supermoto, stuff like that. Just to give you an idea of the size comparison to the stock foot peg, it's going to have that same 50 millimeter step width that the DRC Wide foot peg had. It's also got 3 rows of teeth on it compared to just 2 rows on the stock foot peg. So it's going to be a little bit wider and then have, you know, more teeth to give you a little bit extra grip. You also notice that it doesn't stick out quite as far as the stock foot peg does, and that's by design. when you have the bike really leaned over in the corners, like at a track day or aggressive street riding, having the foot peg not stick out quite as far is going to help keep it away from the pavement. That way it's not going to rub on the pavement. Now, if you do happen to have the foot peg come in contact with the pavement, these do have a red plastic slider attached to the bottom of the foot peg. That way, if the foot peg doesn't come in contact with the pavement, it's not going to dig in, it's just going to slide across the pavement. Kind of protects the foot peg and also keeps you from the foot peg digging in and potentially causing a crash. That little plastic slider is replaceable if you ever need to replace it. The foot peg construction itself is that chromium steel, same chromium steel that the DRC Wide foot peg is made out of, and it's powder coated in black. Now these foot pegs they sit up a little bit higher than the stock foot pegs, and again, that's by design to help keep the foot peg away from the pavement in the corners. So it is going to sit up a couple millimeters higher than the stock foot pegs do. Installation, very simple, just like these other foot pegs. You just take the stock ones off, reuse the stock springs, and then these just bolt right on. 5 or 10 minute job total. So if you're looking for a foot peg that's more for street riding or track riding, this DRC Motard foot peg is definitely the way to go. Okay, the next foot peg I wanted to talk about is the Flow Motorsports Pro Series foot peg for the Honda CRF250L. It's a little bit more aggressive foot peg. As you can see, it's a little bit wider overall. I believe this has a 57 millimeter step width on it. To give you an idea how it compares to the stock foot peg, you'll see it's a little bit wider, so it's going to give you that wider platform to stand on, make it a little bit more comfortable. It's also got 3 rows of stainless steel cleats on it compared to just 2 rows of teeth on the stock foot peg. So it's going to give you a little bit better grip and traction than the stock foot pegs. Now, one of the unique things about this foot peg is its construction. It's actually made out of an aluminum alloy, so it's going to be super lightweight while still being very durable. I mean, when you pick these foot pegs up compared to some of the steel foot pegs, you definitely notice a difference. These are really lightweight foot pegs. So if you're looking for something really lightweight, I think these are probably the ones to go with. And also they come in red, which looks really good on the bike. Installation is super easy, just like the other foot pegs. Probably takes 5-10 minutes. You just take the stock foot pegs off. You'll reuse the stock foot peg springs, and then these just bolt right on without any type of modification or anything. So again, if you're looking for something kind of unique looking with the red color and then also very lightweight, then this is probably the foot peg you want to go with. And it's the Flow Motorsports Pro Series foot peg for the Honda CRF250L. Okay, the next foot peg I wanted to talk about is the ProMoto Billet Evo 3 foot peg. Now this is one of the nicer foot pegs available for the CRF250L. It also happens to be one of the largest as far as the platform size. To give you an idea how it compares to the stock foot peg, it's about 60 millimeters wide, about 80 millimeters long. So you can see it's quite a bit bigger overall than the stock foot peg. So it's going to give you that large platform size, makes it really comfortable foot peg to stand on. It also has 3 rows of cleats compared to just 2 rows of teeth on the stock foot peg. So it's going to give you a lot more grip and traction than the stock foot pegs do. The foot peg itself is made out of a stainless steel material. And as you can see, it's got cleats that are threaded into the foot peg. You get 2 different cleats to choose from. There's the F3 cleats and the F5 cleats. These are the standard F3 cleats that the foot peg comes with. For like an extra $20, you can add the F5 cleats on, which are just a little bit more aggressive cleat than these. And again, those are just threaded into the foot peg, so you can, replace them if you ever need to. And one of the nice things about this foot peg is its adjustability. You can adjust not only the height of the foot peg, but also the camber angle. Now the way you do the height of the foot peg, if you'll notice in there, there's an insert that you can flip back and forth and it'll raise or lower the foot peg. We've got the foot peg right now in the low position. If you want to raise it up a little bit, you just flip that insert the other way and it'll raise the foot peg up. So you can customize the height of it, which is kind of a nice feature. In addition to that, you can adjust the camber angle of the foot peg. If you like to angle your legs more in towards the gas tank or something, you can actually adjust the angle of the foot peg. If you can see right there on the back side of the foot peg, there's an Allen bolt or Allen screw that's threaded into the back side of the foot peg. And what you can do is put inserts in there that will basically push the foot peg's angle up and down depending on how many washers you have in there. Now I don't have any installed in there right now because we are pretty happy with the camber angle that it is in stock form, but you can adjust it by just putting those washers behind that Allen bolt. So if you're looking for a foot peg that's kind of customizable for not only height but camber, then this foot peg is definitely the way to go. Just like the other foot pegs, real simple to install it. Probably takes 10 minutes to install both foot pegs. These do come with their own springs. You don't reuse the stock foot peg springs. You use the specific springs that they provide with the foot pegs. And they just bolt right onto the bike. You don't have to do any modifications or anything. Again, it's the ProMoto Billet Evo 3 foot peg.